all this while, we've been talking about selling to markets in the US, right? Let's ask the fun question. Does this market, would you build a business like this? Or if you were to build for the Indian market, knowing what we've just discussed, would you build for India?
Almost definitely not.
Okay.
Right. And the reason for that is really boils down to the markets are so different, right? The US is one large homogenous market. Everyone speaks English. Everyone sort of like at some level, like, dental practices in every part of the country probably operates the same way. And more than anything, it's just really large. $140 billion in overall spend in dental services. That's huge, right? As a market. And if you look at healthcare overall, it's $4.3 trillion is what they say, right? It's just massive.
How do you know that's a good thing? Because it just feels like a lot.
I know. But again, another debate. In India, though, the thing that I sort of see is like, it's not that there aren't enough dentists out there or anything like that. It's more that the willingness to pay for the SMB segment in India for software. Practo, which is arguably one of the most well-known names in the health tech space, they have this solution called Practo Ray, which is for people who want to manage their practices and clinics up to a particular size. They charge 1,000 rupees a month. I have a friend whose wife is a dentist who runs her own practice, and they thought that was too expensive. Not that they don't actually end up making more than that on a per month basis, but willingness to pay is actually quite low.
Why is that the case?
I feel like it's a couple of different reasons. One is the fact that labor itself is very cheap. A lot of the promise of software is around efficiency. You can actually end up doing these things a lot faster, a lot more efficiently. When labor itself is so cheap, do you really focus as much on efficiency? That's one part of it. The second part of it is that, again, this is secondhand information from people who've actually worked in the health tech space and so on and so forth. People feel like when you're selling to doctors, you're competing against free. Right? There are a lot of like free tools and free software out there, and they tend to optimize on that. There's this company called HealthPlix out there.
HealthPlix.
Yeah. They end up going ahead and, from what I understand, give away the software for free, and there's other unique sort of like monetization models that they actually end up following there. But, you almost need to take that kind of approach. Do I think the market will eventually end up changing? Yes. I also think that, it's not that I don't think people in India don't pay for anything. It's just that I think they'll end up paying for things that end up growing the business, right? Not in terms of things that end up improving operational efficiency. And when I said people, I meant specifically SMBs. Enterprises and even mid-market in India, there is a fairly big market that is sort of emerging, and that's something that we are seeing at SpotDraft.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, good plug for your own business. But let me challenge you there, right? Software isn't necessarily an efficiency driving system, efficiency driving paradigm alone. We've just discussed with CareStack itself that there's a $650 a month per seat plan. And then there is a revenue cycle management approach where you help with insurance. There could be marketing-based approaches. It's almost like the software could be a wedge, which is what folks like HealthPlix seem to be doing by giving the software bit for free. What do you think about those adjacencies? Do you think does it make sense to build RCM for India? Does it make sense to build?
Let's talk about RCM. So RCM is quite interesting. And a market like the US, it's almost like necessary.
Yeah.
Because insurance, majority of the country, I won't say majority of the country has insurance, but most people do have insurance. If you don't have a health insurance in the US, you just don't go and get treated for most things because it's just too damn expensive, right? And that's a huge problem there. In India, however, health insurance is growing. At the hospital my wife works at, over 50% of the people coming in for inpatient treatments do actually have insurance, right? But there isn't insurance covering like outpatient treatments or anything like that. And I don't know if there's any insurance provider that covers dental treatments as well. I just don't know, right? I don't think that is the case. So that itself is a very sort of much more of a nascent market than it is in the US. And the need for RCM comes in when you have like these long recovery periods for like money that you need to actually end up getting in. And the actual process of actually claiming insurance is challenging. And from the little bit of research that I did do, there are sort of players out there that do end up focusing on this, but they're much more smaller in size. There's a company called Seven Sigma, based out of Kerala, again, that's actually doing quite well in this space. They end up like, it's almost like outsource your entire insurance desk and so on and so forth. And I don't know exactly how much money that they're making, but the team seems to be growing over there. again, the challenge over here will almost be, let's assume a hospital is making like $20 million a year. Would you give up 6%? Let's assume everyone is insurance patients. Would you give up 6% of that revenue to an external provider to actually end up dealing with everything to do with collections and making sure your money comes back? Because 6% of 20 million is still like, $1.2 million. You can set up an insurance desk for a lot less than that, right? Because cost of labor is, again,
labor efficiency, that becomes the question.
So do I think there's a market for that? Yes, but I really don't know how big.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, do like and subscribe.